Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for April 7th to 13th. This week I read 3 books, I watched 1 show, I listened to 1 podcast, and I listened to 1 book. First this week I finished volumes 3 and 4 of I Hate Fairyland. I read the other 2 volumes last week, really enjoyed those ones. These ones I enjoyed a little bit less. Firstly, the second volume leaves off in this very strange place and it's not even really addressed at all in the 3rd volume except for maybe 1 throwaway line that might explain what's going on. So that bothered me. Also the ending really bothered me. So in general these 2 volumes were a little bit less entertaining to me, but the art was still absolutely gorgeous, so it had that going for it. Obviously I can't say too much other than that because spoilers for plots, and we know I don't like to do that. So if you do plan to read this series, just know going into it that the first 2 are really good and then the second 2 are fine. The other book I read this week, which you probably know what it is because I've been talking about it non-stop, is In Other Lands by Rees Brennan. This was a reread for me because I read it last year in December and absolutely adored it, and then I asked you guys to read it with me for my birthday last week, which was yesterday, and I had a really great time at the live show talking to Mel from Meltotheany and everybody who showed up in the chat and was talking to us about where they were from and talking to us about the book, and we had so many conversations. It was a 4-hour live show and I'm not entirely certain how that happened, but I really enjoyed it. If you didn't get a chance to join in, I will link it in places, obviously. We tried not to have too many spoilers about the book, but there is a big League of Legends spoiler right in the middle of it because Melanie had it kind of on in the corner because there was a championship type thing going on, so I know at least one person was spoiled for League of Legends while watching it. Sorry about that, Rebecca. If you haven't read it yet, In Other Lands is a portal fantasy where this boy goes off to be in this kind of military college that only certain children can see. It is super snarky, it is super satirical. I would immediately die for his friend group. And you learn within the first few pages that the main character is bi, and that comes up over and over and over again, and it was wonderful. Like I said, this is a reread for me, so I won't go too much into it. Besides, if you haven't read it already, you should read it. It is fantastic. On to what I watched this week. I only watched 1 episode of Survivor because my best friend was sick and having her carpets cleaned, so we didn't do our usual Tuesday night watching old seasons of Survivor thing, but I did watch the most recent episode and it was the most interesting tribal council I have ever seen. People went into it with a plan and then somebody just said, well, we could all just talk about it right now and totally change things. Everybody just got up off their little seats and just started talking to each other and the whole plan changed. It was very entertaining to watch. Also, something I've noticed in the past few episodes that makes me very happy is somebody on Reddit suggested that when they're doing a lower third, when a person is just talking directly to the camera, they will indicate if that person has an idol or not, which is super helpful because then you don't have to try to remember who is in possession of idols or even half idols, because there was definitely a half-idol situation. When I saw that, I was very pleased with it. On to the podcast I listened to this week. It was the 16th episode of Setting the Record Queer. From my understanding, because again I just listened to the 16th episode, I didn't start from the beginning, this is a podcast where these 2 queer podcasters talk to other queer creators about what they create. I specifically listened to this one because it featured the Princess and the Scrivener, aka Paige and Sarah, who are friends of mine. Both of them have been on this channel multiple times. In fact, if I look over here on my wall, Sarah sent me this postcard and Paige went to this event with me. So obviously I was going to tune in for that podcast. It was a pretty long episode and I got to talk about their creative process on YouTube, and I really enjoyed just hearing their voices again because I missed them. So if you're interested in Disney, intersectional feminism, pop culture critique, and more, you should definitely check out The Princess and the Scrivener. On to the book I listened to this week. This was another reread and that was All Are Wrong Todays by Elan Mastai. The novel is read by the author, which is fantastic, especially when you get to chapter 56, which is an in-joke for anyone who's actually read the book because that chapter, read out loud, is amazing. Also, there's further chapters read out loud, also amazing. I'm sorry to be completely vague there, but I don't want to spoil it because, oh wow, do so many things happen in this book. So I reread this because one of my local book clubs wanted to read it and I had already read it before, so I just wanted to make sure that I remembered what happened. And because this is my favorite time travel novel, obviously a lot of things happened and things get timey-wimey, so I wanted to make sure I remembered what was going on. I I actually spent a lot of that book club trying to explain how some of the things happen to varying degrees of success. Essentially, in this novel, we start out with Tom Barron, who lives in 2016, but a much more utopian version of 2016 than we're used to. 51 years previously, an inventor created this machine that has basically been powering the planet ever since with clean, free energy, which means this society is much more technologically advanced than our society in 2016. Tom's father creates time travel as a tourist type of thing, and he is set up as kind of this person that is like the backup on the first mission. He'll never actually be used, but he's just been given this position because he's kind of in a depression because his mom recently died and his dad just wanted to make him feel useful. His dad doesn't actually like him all that much, but wanted to keep him kind of like in his peripheral sight so he didn't mess anything up, basically. Obviously, because it's time travel, something goes horribly wrong, and that's all I can really say. Besides, if you have the means, listening to this book is amazing. Elan Mastai does a fantastic job narrating. And what I really love about this is from the get-go, he explains why all our other time travel narratives are bullshit because they never take into account the fact that, yes, time is how you're traveling, but the Earth moves. So not only do you need to calculate where to go in time, you need to calculate where the Earth will be at that time, or had been at that time. Miscalculate that and you're in the vacuum of space. That was definitely something I had never considered before I read this book. So again, this was another one of my 5-star reads from last year. If you haven't read it already, I highly recommend it. I did vlog my reading week all of last week, and I've actually put that video together already, but it is going to take me some time to do the captions because it's about 23 minutes long, so that will be up later in the week. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!